When it comes to the profound sacrifices made by writers, few stories resonate like that of Jung Chang, the acclaimed author of the best-selling memoir, Wild Swans. She boldly declared, "I don't really feel fear. I'm slightly immune to it now." Reflecting on an unsettling event from 2006, she recounts how her beloved balcony plants mysteriously vanished overnight. Someone had meticulously untangled and removed them while she and her husband, the historian John Halliday, slept just above. "It was a warning shot from Beijing," she explains, likening it to a scene in The Godfather, where a horse's head serves as an ominous message. Chang recognizes the danger she faces, yet she remains unyielding in her commitment to express what she knows to be true. The influence of Wild Swans cannot be overstated. Released in 1991, it swiftly became one of the most successful nonfiction books ever published, with over 15 million copies sold and translations into nearly 40 languages. The book opens with the striking line, "At the age of 15, my grandmother became the concubine of a warlord general," vividly narrating the harrowing experiences endured by her family during the tumultuous era of Mao's Cultural Revolution. Through this period, Chang's father suffered torture and insanity after being imprisoned, while her mother was made to kneel on shards of glass, and young Chang herself was exiled from her home to work as a peasant near the Himalayas. Readers were captivated by Chang's insights into a country that had been largely invisible to the outside world. This personal narrative struck a chord with countless people, leading me to share my well-worn copy with my daughters when they reached the appropriate age. Fast forward 34 years, and at 73, Chang is set to release her long-anticipated sequel, Fly, Wild Swans, which picks up where the original left off in 1978. At that time, the teenage Chang was part of a group of 13 students sent to study in London, outfitted in identical baggy suits dictated by the Chinese embassy. Now, she recalls her arrival with awe. It was like landing on Mars. Today, seated in a stylish restaurant close to her home in Notting Hill, London, Chang radiates joy and confidence. Dressed impeccably in chic fashion, her enthusiasm for life is infectious. She reminisces about her initial years in London as a vibrant adventure, having been taught to pull out grass because it was deemed bourgeois under Mao's regime. Her first visit to Hyde Park left her elated. Gradually, she found the courage to rebel against the restrictions imposed by the embassy, engaging in college social events, utilizing makeup, and exploring second-hand shops for colorful clothing. She received a scholarship to York University, where she achieved her PhD in linguistics in 1982, becoming the first woman from communist China to earn a doctorate from a British institution. Although she had aspired to be a writer since childhood, the environment in Mao's China made that nearly impossible. Writing was the most perilous profession. Books were destroyed, she reflects. On her 16th birthday, she wrote her first poem before flushing it away. Though her thoughts consistently revolved around writing, once she found new beginnings in the UK, she initially chose to steer clear of topics related to China, hoping to forge a fresh identity away from her past. In 1988, while she was happily working as a lecturer at the School of Oriental and African Studies and living in sin with Halliday, her mother made a visit to London. Lacking her daughter's enthusiasm for shopping, they settled for a stroll in Hyde Park, where her mother pointed out stones reminiscent of those used to break the bones of young girls' feet during foot-binding. This comment reignited Chang's awareness of her grandmother's suffering, leading her to reflect on the cruelty of the foot-binding tradition and its dreadful implications. Her mother shared an array of stories, recording over 60 hours that Chang listened to in fascination. These tales included how her teenage grandmother escaped from her warlord captor so her child would not grow up alongside his legitimate daughter. Her mother being forced to kneel in the snow by occupying Japanese soldiers, and her grandmother's arduous journey across China, which included a miscarriage, all while being denied proper transportation due to the revolutionary ethos. From these profound narratives and her own reflections, Chang crafted Wild Swans. After its release, she traveled internationally with her mother, who had been permitted to exit China after some time, captivating audiences with their shared experiences and insights. Despite the fact that Wild Swans has never been published in China, during a period of brief openness and prosperity under Jiang Zemin, black market copies emerged, a stark contrast to the increasingly oppressive climate faced today. Chang was able to visit China without restriction, largely because her book conveyed a familial story rather than a direct denouncement of the regime, leading to heartwarming encounters where fans expressed their admiration. However, joy was countered by personal tragedy. A battle with breast cancer necessitated a significant medical procedure shortly after her book's publication, leaving her with lasting exhaustion that dampened some of the triumph she felt due to her success. After recovering, Chang and Halliday dedicated themselves to writing Mao, the Unknown Story, which required 12 years of in-depth interviews with 150 individuals internationally, including notable figures like Henry Kissinger and the Dalai Lama. The revelations they uncovered were startling, particularly the recognition that Mao's decisions directly led to the deaths of 70 million people during peacetime after he deliberately instigated a famine to fund military aspirations. Despite such revelations, some historians in the West still defend Mao's legacy, while in China he continues to be venerated. Chang understood that her candid critiques would not sit well with the Chinese authorities. Following the publication of Mao's biography, her visa was revoked, forcing diplomatic negotiations for a limited annual visit to see her mother. Nonetheless, after Xi Jinping ascended to power in 2013, China became increasingly authoritarian, and her last visit with her beloved mother occurred in 2018, just before Xi cemented his status as a permanent leader. Right after he took control, his regime criminalized disparaging revolutionary heroes. And here I was, having showcased Mao's misrule, she notes. Eventually, the unbearable conclusion came. After years of effort to see her mother, Chang realized she could not continue risking travel to her homeland. Her fear was palpable. While it was likely she could enter China once more, the possibility of being detained was daunting. As she dedicates Wild Swans to her mother, who now resides in a nursing home in Chengdu and is 94 years old, Chang feels heartache over her inability to share in her mother's final days. Several of her siblings have faced travel bans as a result of their opposition to the regime, while only her youngest brother and older sister remain nearby in China. My sister's been told multiple times to prepare for our mother's passing, yet she continues to pull through. Until recently, we could still have meaningful conversations, but her energy is fading. Chang confides, showcasing a cherished photo of her brother and mother smiling together. A bittersweet moment that brings her comfort. It is with a heavy heart that Chang reflects. It's tragic that I shall never see her again. Yet it's a hazard of my profession, one my mother encouraged me to embrace. She recognized my passion for writing and knew that doing so would come with a cost. The shadows of the Mao era still loom large in present-day China. Outside of North Korea, China vigorously maintains its communist identity, albeit with elements of capitalism. It remains a strict dictatorship that suppresses any dissent. Fear has returned among the populace in a significant way. When asked if she believes that China poses a greater threat to the West than Russia, Chang firmly agrees. In terms of ideology, yes, China aims to dismantle the capitalist framework. Would I feel unsettled living in Taiwan? Absolutely. Nevertheless, Chang remains resolute and refuses to be subdued. We have to take risks to live fully. My motivation for writing is not to battle the Chinese government. Rather, it stems from my commitment to express myself truthfully in an environment that is tightly controlled. I can hardly write about anything else, so I will strive to be authentic, no matter the difficulty. As Chang fully comprehends, that authenticity often comes at a significant price. Wild Swans, My Mother, Myself, and China, by Jung Chang, is scheduled for release on September 16th.